Okay, so here's my case study for Miss Walker and what's going on at Roosevelt High with that website. What I know right now is Roosevelt High, very competitive academic environment, a lot of competition for valedictorian, salutatorian, and things of that nature. Miss Walker reaches those academic standards. She wants high expectations academically from her students. I know that Miss Walker does not have a good rapport with some students, particularly Randy Franks, as in the past has been addressed about creating more positive interactions with students. I know that the comment about her making her disappear has made her feel unsafe, which is why it's a very serious issue. Administrators, one of the standards is to make staff and students and staff have a safe environment, and right now Miss Walker does not feel safe, so it's a very serious issue that needs to be addressed. And that the website was definitely created by students based on the fact that there was comments specific to her classes. What I need to know is where the email originates from. I don't know if that'd be hard to do. Just look up an email address. You can use the tech guy. You can probably figure it out pretty easily. And start there to figure out where the website came from, because obviously whoever sent the email knew about the website. And then go from there, address the comment of what disappear meant. And let the students know that although they might have just meant, be fired or not teach anymore, it was seen very differently, and it's still serious to say something like that. And go through those highly suggestive comments, and same thing, say that the wording, and we need to be careful as to what we say. I also need to know, why is Miss Walker accusing Randy Franks? Is her behavior in classroom unfair? Is it unethical? Or is it just high expectations that are making students stressed out? And there are any other reasons that Miss Walker may have considered this a death threat? Why she might have interpreted it in this way. The problems we have here is it could be libel, it could be not, but the biggest thing is that the biggest problem is Miss Walker fears for her safety, and that's probably the biggest issue in my mind. Also need to address the classroom environment issues. Why, it's sort of a root cause. Obviously the classroom environment is causing students to react in this way and making Miss Walker feel unsafe. So we need to address that, and in particular this one student that she brought up. So my plan of action, number one, determine the origin of the email. See why what information that student knows as it turns to this website, and address all the students and let them know that this is a serious matter and this is not something that is going to be taken lightly. I need to determine the comment of disappearing. Whoever made that comment, the student needs to be aware of that it's taking in a way that Miss Walker feels is a death threat. And even if they mean it that way, they need to understand how serious it is to say something like that on whoever made a comment of that nature. In addition, since I feel like the root cause is the classroom environment, not that it's a disciplinary thing, but I would let Miss Walker know that, hey, let's work on this to improve your teaching. Let's improve the classroom environment so that doesn't occur. Not that you are at fault for this, but let's take a look at the classroom environment to prevent this from happening again. Techniques were discussed in the past that were sort of not taken, so maybe more formal professional development would be necessary just to improve on teaching. And in lieu of that, I would need to kind of be more presence in the class just to give some tips. And I would let Mr. Walker know this is not disciplinary. This is sort of just support, help. Here's some suggestions. Here's what I see. Here's another set of eyes in the class to help out with that. Now, I feel like these solutions will help promote the success of all students, because I feel like we can make this a learning experience for all students on internet safety, and what you post online is sometimes detrimental. You need to be careful as to what you write, and use it as the starting part to create a more positive classroom environment for Miss Walker. Let students know that this isn't right and that Miss Walker just has high expectations for you, and that's good because you're going to learn that. You're going to be challenged, and that's important. That's sometimes more important than just getting an A. For me, being successful doesn't mean you get an A. It could mean that you are challenged and you get a lower grade than expected, but you're challenged. And again, for Miss Walker, I think it's just a good way to stress to her that teaching is more than just the high academic standards. You need to have some positive rapport. Students will learn better, will appreciate you more, and things of that nature. So make it a learning experience for all, make Miss Walker a better teacher, and thereby making it a success for all students. My thinking is that I believe Miss Walker right now thinks of teaching more as an academic function, not a social one. maybe from her background or whatever, her personality, she needs to understand a little bit more that the academic standards are great and they're high, but teaching is a social activity, and we need to build that rapport with students in order for the learning to even take place. I know many Mrs. Walker students are feeling a stress they've never experienced, which is good in a way. Maybe it's not easy all of a sudden, so they have to experience struggling and have it not just be easy for them, which is a good thing, and I think the students need to be aware of that. And the students, I think, were trying to vent their stress and anger in a way they felt was safe and harmless, and I don't think they realized that posting things on the internet like that can be taken out of context, and I think they really need to understand that it wasn't safe and it wasn't harmless when they post things in a public forum like that. So I think it was meant to be harmless, but it turned out not to be, and it could be a good learning experience for students as to being careful as to what they put out in public. My feeling is this was not a threat on Miss Walker's life. If anything, it was an idea of we don't want her as our teacher anymore, making her disappear from the classroom. I think a lot of Miss Walker students have never experienced being less than like your straight A student. So this is something that's new for them and they're struggling with. And my feeling is they need to learn that. And I do feel like that Miss Walker does have the best intentions for her students. I don't get the impression she's being unfair or unethical. I feel like it is just she's setting a high standard and she's forcing the students to reach it and not just saying, here you go, make it easy for them, and that's a good thing. Again, it can be a valuable learning experience for everybody involved. The entire school community can learn about the internet safety and usage, even the ones that aren't in Miss Walker's class, because word will get around that this happened and it shouldn't be this way, and that you need to really pay attention to what you post online. And really all staff can be a part in helping creating a positive school-wide environment to help Miss Walker's issue. Kind of all being on the same page of, making school a positive place for students with high academic expectations. So maybe not just me, but other teachers can help in Miss Walker in creating a more positive classroom environment. I feel like I demonstrated a sense of integrity and ethical behavior. I never let my personal beliefs get involved. I did not Miss Walker's accusations against Randy Frank guide my thinking, nor did I assume it was a death threat, meaning that we needed the police involved and it wasn't serious of that nature. I said we need to investigate, we need to make it fair for everybody. And regardless of my interpretation, I need to address it in the same seriousness that Ms. Walker felt it should be addressed. So I feel like I just kept that out. I kind of kept it ethical. I kept like a high level of integrity in addressing the situation. And there was no blame on anybody in my opinion. It was more of let's find out everybody involved and how this is happening. I didn't single out any students like Ms. Walker may have accused, and nor did I allow any of the past issues or complaints sway my addressing the issue at hand. I might be upset that she didn't take my suggestions, but that didn't sway me from not addressing the seriousness of this issue. I was unbiased. I didn't jump to conclusions. I wanted to investigate, and I wanted to work out solutions that would really benefit the whole school and not just be like a disciplinary action for students in creating this website, which is why I feel like I followed this professional code of ethics.